6 months from now, you're going to be unrecognizable to the version of you that you are right now. Let's do a 6-month energy update. So we're doing a forecast month by month of the next 6 months ahead. The reason why we're doing this, I don't normally do 6 months at a time, is because these next 6 months are a game changer for humanity. Have you ever had the experience where you cannot feel yourself? So I'm speaking here particularly to the more empathic, more intuitive ones, where you just can't feel yourself beyond a certain point. And I've had people say this to me before, Kerry, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to be around in 6 months' time, or next month, or next week, or next year, because I just can't get a sense of myself. And that's not because you're not going to be here. It's because the you that exists there is existing in a frequency or in a bandwidth that you can't yet access, that makes no sense to the physical body. So you can't tune in, you can't get a sense of the you that you're becoming or the world that you're about to step into. So, huge acceleration. That's what we're doing. We're crossing an event horizon. And once we cross that event horizon, not only can we not go back, because there's now no more bridge left to the you that you were before, moving forward, you're going to find yourself in an upgraded version of you. Who was I 6 months ago? Who was I 2 years ago? Who was I 6 years, 8 years ago? I remember that Kerry. I would look at a photograph and I'm know that Kerry. So when I say to you, you're going to be unrecognizable to yourself, I don't mean at a very literal level. You will obviously recognize yourself in a photograph. But much like when I look back, and guys, if there's one thing I know about myself, I've been growing rapidly and consistently for the last many, many years. So when I look back to 6 months and 6 years ago, there's a Kerry that exists there that I can obviously remember, but I can't really relate to. I look at, and it's almost a bit of a blur for me. In the same way that you looking 6 months ahead can be a little bit blurry, you looking 6 months behind, once you've really grown and gone through some quantum jumps, you can't relate to. You can remember, but you can't relate to. You can remember, but you won't feel. Let's just say that the me of 6 months ago or the me of 6 years ago was experiencing an illusory state of being, maybe an anxiety, maybe a depression, maybe some kind of illusion that I was caught in. I can remember it, but I can't feel it. I can't relate to it. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about unrecognizable to yourself. Another thing that I really have to let you know is, man, you have to tune in, turn on your multidimensional vision now. And what that means is you're going to grow and you're going to become a 5D being, but it's not one step to get there. There are many steps to get there. And then once you step into a higher dimensional version of you, the growth continues. Why? Because you're expansive. You're never ending. You're an infinite thing. And an infinite thing infinitely evolves, expands, grows, becomes more. So when I say to you, we're shifting timelines, or I say to you guys, we're at a tipping point, because we are, by the way, at a tipping point, you're going to say, no, but we've already been through a tipping point. Wasn't that like 2, 4, 5 years ago? There will be multiple tipping points, and they'll come in more rapidly and more frequently. It's the same as when I say to you, we've shifted timelines. Some people say, oh, we've done that already. Yeah, but we'll keep doing that. Multidimensional vision means you need to start seeing the expansiveness of who you are, the expansiveness of being. Now, let's do a little bit of a rundown. I'm going to go through the next 6 months a little bit briefly, and as we get closer to each month, I'll do a more extended video. So make sure that you've subscribed to my channel, but definitely ring the bell and do interact with the video. Give it a comment, not just a little like. Maybe you want to drop me a comment and just say, how do you do? I don't always answer them. I can't always answer them, but I certainly lie in bed and I read through your comments, and most of them just hit my heart and give me a glow. You guys are so beautiful, and I'm so grateful I get to share this with you. So let's look at where we are right now. We've walked through 2024 to the point that we're at more than the halfway mark in 2024. And now we're concluding 2024's energy. We are now preparing for 2025. Once we hit September, in September, we are officially in preparation for 2025. Why is that a big deal? Because 2025 is a huge. There are no words to describe to you how massive the 2025 shift is. Now, here's an example. AI, you guys. I know that everybody's aware of what AI is doing. I reckon, what was it? Was it a year ago, maybe? I put up a video talking about ChatGPT and, just saying AI is growing very rapidly. And back then, people were going, what is this ChatGPT? What GPT? I've never heard of it. That was the beginning of AI and artificial intelligence really taking an unprecedented role. People are beginning to let AI run their business, create their content for them, especially on social media where you've got short form content. A lot of that now is being written. The scripts are being written by AI. The hooks are being written by AI. It's, I was going to say slowly, but actually rapidly is the right word. It's rapidly becoming that AI is leading the way for where humanity is going. The shift has to come in now, where humanity starts leading themselves. In other words, where you as the individual start running yourself. AI is evolving so rapidly that you're going to see 30 to 40 years worth of growth in a month. Then you're going to see 300 to 400 years worth of growth in a month. The rapid rate in which AI is evolving is going to make our heads spin by the time we get into 2025. It's going to become very rare that an art piece on somebody's wall was actually painted by a human being artist. It's going to become more commonplace that people will enjoy digital art and digital sound and books. It's reaching a place where books are going to be written by AI. And even if a human hand kind of edits it out and makes it sound a little bit more human, the plot line and the script and the twists and the turns of a novel can really now be written by AI. So on one hand, some people are going to go, oh, isn't that fantastic? Wow, look at us, look at how we're evolving. But then most of you guys watching this are going to go, ooh, that doesn't bode well for humanity. Because notoriously, who's been in cahoots with quantum computing, with AI, are those who've wanted to control humanity. The archonic forces that have engineered the false matrix in the first place. We, however, are reaching a critical point where we are moving out of the grasp of where AI can go. Do you know where AI can't go? AI cannot evolve in consciousness. They can evolve in intellect, but not in consciousness. Consciousness is of the soul. It is your ability to connect to your God-like form. Now, I know that there are going to be people who are going to argue with me and go, no, but AI can eventually create a soul. That's a conversation for another day. What I want you to look at is the intention behind the rapid advancement of AI has been orchestrated by beings who are desperately trying to regain control of the collapsing false matrix. We, however, continue to be the human beings, almost like we're running out of a burning building. I've used this example for you guys before where I said, imagine a Hollywood blockbuster, the building's on fire and you flying out the window. We're doing that, but we're doing that over a period of months and years. But all the while, AI is on our tail, trying to regain control with the archonic influences, trying to regain control of the false matrix, thereby controlling humanity once again, ensnaring humanity once again. Humanity keeps moving at a level of consciousness, into a level of consciousness where that kind of density cannot follow. Because if it does, then it is going to ascend. That is not the intention of the malevolent forces that engineered the false matrix. Their intention was never to ascend. There's a video on my channel called Archons, Gods of the False Matrix. You can find out more about them in that video. So, 6-month forecast. Whew, yeah, unrecognizable. That's what AI is going to be. That's what you're going to be. You're crossing an event horizon, and it starts in September of 2024, where we shift gear. That's really what it is. We're now shifting gear. We've pretty much done what 2024 asked us to do. We're now reorientating ourselves into a new direction. And that is, okay, what's 2025 going to ask of me, and how do I ready myself for it? So there's really a shift of priority in September. There's a shift of mindset. There's a lot of, meh, that's not important to me anymore. Things that I really wanted, I'm letting go of, or a focus that I had, or a person that I was pursuing. It's just suddenly going to lose flavor, lose interest as you shift gear. That means other things are going to have your attention. That means new, expansive ideas and pathways are going to come into your vision, and you're going to go, gee, I never thought about that before. Or, hey, I've been playing small. Why don't I look at it this way? Why don't I look at it that way? There's a lot of acceleration, because that happens when we shift gear, right? And that acceleration takes us all the way into October. And in October, that acceleration is going to, I'm going to create a funny little visual for you here. The acceleration from September that moves over into October, I want you to imagine that you start September out walking, sprinting, running, flying, and then once you hit October, it's as if you're hovering in the air. So for a lot of people in October, it's going to feel a little bit limbo-like. It's going to feel a little bit like the world is not ready for me. That's really what it's going to come down to. That's going to be the feeling. Because you're going to have a sense of the world that I come from has been concluded. That is everything that we were bringing to conclusion and closure in 2024. The world now of 2025 is a new era for humanity. And I'm kind of caught between the two. In October, we're going to have a lot of that going on, a feeling like the world isn't ready for you. And you know what? You're going to be uncomfortable, and it's okay. This is not about how comfortable can you be. This is not about how cozy can you be. This is not about how much can you belong. This is about how much frequency can you accommodate, because you're here to be the ripple. That is your purpose. Your purpose is, and that's what you're doing hovering in the air in October. You are accelerating at the inner level. You are accumulating. That's the word I wanted. You are accumulating frequency, accumulating consciousness, and rippling and rippling and rippling. So you'll find yourself really undertaking your purpose as a light worker very powerfully, very profoundly in October. So very elevated, but at the same time, a little frustrated, because you're going to think you're in limbo, but it's quick. October's a quick month, as are all months. It's only a 4-week period. So much shifts in those 4 weeks. And it could really only be 1 week, 2 weeks out of the 4 that you have that limbo, like I'm floating in the air kind of experience. Your feet are going to touch down again in November, maybe even before November. But November is a big test for humanity. And in November, the energy that we're going to hold and the thing that we're going to ask ourselves as we look around is, did we pass the test? September and October, we are preparing for a test. November is the test. Now, the test could come a little bit earlier, could come in September, could come in October. But by November, each and every single one of us will be tested at the collective level, as well as at the individual and the personal level. It's kind of like, okay, so you want to grow beyond the reach of the archonic. You see, in the old world, we imagined that we needed to protect ourselves. We imagined that we needed to put up walls and barriers and barricades and block out low frequency interference, until we realized that just locks us in. And it's not safe. Putting up a wall does not make you safe. Putting up burglar bars, putting up razor wire, putting up a moat with crocodiles in it, none of that makes you safe. What makes you safe is existing in a frequency where malevolence cannot go. And the test for humanity, I don't know what it's going to look like. I have a sense, but as we get closer to November, I'll talk to you about that some more. It's going to be some kind of collective event, an event that has humanity's focus, very much like we had over 2019, 2020. We had a pandemic, and everybody became focused on the pandemic, which meant that so much else was happening in the background that nobody was tuning into, that nobody was seeing. It's kind of like December. That's the next month that we need to look at. This happens every December, and it's happened every December of our lives, and that is distraction, distraction, distraction. Look, it's Christmas. Look, it's holiday time. Look, it's family time. Buy them presents, make big dinners, focus on everyone out there. And it's kind of a crazy thing for me. December, I've noticed this trend over 20 plus years of doing the work that I do. I'm busy, busy, busy. People need me, need me, need me. And then in December, everybody goes, oh, I'm just going to take time to be with my family, and then I'll come back again in January. What they're really saying is, I'm going to tune out of me and into them for this month. And then I'll come back to myself in January. And as you know, for a lot of people, January tends to be a really difficult month, because now you've got to find your footing. You've got to find yourself again, because in December, you gave yourself up, so to speak. Now, this December is going to be a very new, very different experience of a December, very unprecedented in that there's no distraction. You're going to face yourself. This December is not about everybody else. This December is about you, and you're going to know it. You won't be able to sidetrack yourself. You won't be able to distract yourself in the way that you used to. You're going to be able to maintain your center. Now, I'll talk about it a little bit more as we get closer to December. There is a central core column within each and every single one of us. It's part of our energetic makeup. That central core column is going to come online in December. There's so much I can talk to you about that, but we'll talk about it closer to the time. And December is where we're going to truly step into an embodiment, a very physical embodiment. It's almost like your feet hit the ground, right? You were hovering in October. November, we're looking around and we passed the test. A lot of confusion, by the way, also in November. What does this mean? These are the questions we're all going to be asking, almost looking confusedly. What does this mean? What does this mean? You must tell me what my reality means. You have to decide. Tests for humanity, November, huge. You have to start leading your life. You have to start leading yourself. That's what we do, by the way, in the Plasma Light Tribe. If you're called to take a deeper level of work beyond the information that I'm giving you here, join the Plasma Light Tribe. That's where I can really work with you and take you in depth into the places we need to go. So we've looked at September, October, November, December, January 2025. Before we head into January 2025, we have already acquainted ourselves with the 2025 energy. Why does 2025 matter so much? Because that year holds so many years worth of growth. There's about 7 years in that 1 year. 2025, at least 7 years, could be a lot more. Could be up to 40 years worth of growth happen in 2025. So it depends on very much on the individual. Everyone is going to be evolving in 2025. Otherwise, the human body is just going to go on the fritz and it won't be able to sustain life, because the environment that we're living in is accelerating and up-leveling and evolving. And this is not just the human being doing it. So in January, the front runners, this is the theme for January, the front runners are going to become the front sprinters. There's a video that I did a little while back for the light workers where I described 3 main groups of light workers. One of them, and I won't go through that again, I'll just link the video for you. You can go and watch it. You can see and identify which group you're in, the first, second, or third. But one of those groups is the front runners. And the front runners, they're a relatively small section of our beautiful light working community. These front runners are going to be front sprinters in January. They're almost like a man on a mission kind of feeling. There's a sense of urgency. And it's an urgency of growth. It's an acceleration of consciousness. It's very daring. It's very courageous. We're going where we haven't been before. And, normally we are very afraid of the unknown. As soon as we get to the unknown, we run towards the unknown. As soon as we get into proximity of it, we start slamming brakes, because now it gets a little bit real, a little bit scary. January, we're going to go past the boundaries, past the limitations of where we've allowed ourselves to go before. And then we've got February. That's the 6th month that I wanted to talk to you about, because in February 2025, it's a new timeline. Remember, I spoke about the multidimensional vision. Oh, but Kerry, we're on a new timeline. There are going to be multiple new timelines I put a video up about this before, about 2025 being a literal new era for humanity. I will link that video for you in the description box below, but that comes online from February. Now, let's talk about predictions. Let's talk about dates and predictions. I've always said this. I will never predict the date, the year, the month, the time for ascension, which is the great solar flash when we shift from 3D to 5D beings. That's not meant to be predicted. It cannot be predicted. And if anybody gives you a date, run away, because the ascension date is not something that humanity will ever need to know. The reason being, imagine if we did know. We would just stop growing. We would say, well, none of this is necessary. I'm going to be reckless and irresponsible, spend all my money, do whatever I want to do. And I'm just going to sit and look at my watch and wait for ascension to happen instead of actively participating in our lives. So it would derail ascension completely if humanity had a date. And look, there have been many failed ascensions. Ascension could have happened in 2012. That was a failed ascension attempt. 2016, failed ascension attempt. 2023, another. And it's okay to have multiple failed ascension attempts. It's like a baby who's walking. That infant doesn't just stand up and walk. That infant stands and falls, stands and falls, stands and falls, until eventually they can balance on their own. And that's all that the failed ascension attempts are for us. Each one is preparation. What about the other dates that I'm predicting? I'm saying to you, I'll never predict the date of ascension, but here I am predicting the next 6 months and giving you a forecast and what we can see. This is a very broad energetic forecast. So much else is going to happen. I've given you the very brief themes for the next 6 months. That's all that this is. This is nothing, purposefully nothing that I want you to put in your calendar and live your life by. This is rather something that you can put in your journal and just look back to and go, okay, now it makes sense. The information that I've given to you is going to make sense once you go through it. But I wanted to share it with you because I want you to understand the scope of where you're going. I want you to have a little bit of forewarning. I want you to have a little bit of preparation. Is this all that we're going to be doing over the next 6 months? My God, no. But please get excited about the fact that you're about to step into a version of you that is unrecognizable to the version of you that you are right now. I find that exhilarating, and I'm so glad that I get to share it with you. And something else I get to share with you is my love. So from my heart, all the way into yours, so much love. Let it in. Always, always let love in. We've been so programmed to ward, to push away, to ward energy off. Let love in. Speak to you really soon. Got so much more to share with you, and I can't wait to bring it to you. Until then, why don't I leave you with a video just over here. This video is about the false matrix. And now that I'm saying that, there's also this video about light workers. So you can choose which one you want to watch. Go ahead and enjoy the next step in your journey.